Rise is taking you live now from the White House this morning. Today, in the transition of power, President-elect Biden is set to receive his first presidential daily briefing. Now, while that briefing will be top secret, we now know who will share any public updates from Biden's team. 4 of the 7 top communications roles at the White House will be filled by women of color. And it's the first time the entire senior White House communications team will be entirely female. The team will be led by Kate Bedingfield, communications director for Biden's campaign and a veteran of the Obama administration. In a statement, Biden said in part, quote, "These qualified, experienced communicators bring diverse perspectives to their work and a shared commitment to building this country back better." Now on Twitter, current White House press secretary Kayleigh McEnany tweeted that President Trump already has an all-female senior White House press team. However, the deputy communications director and deputy press secretary positions are in fact filled by men. As for what's next, Biden plans to announce a number of his top economic advisors sometime this week. And Gia, he'll be doing that wearing a walking boot, apparently. Unfortunately, the president-elect fractured his right foot over the weekend when he was playing with his dog. So.
Yeah, his dog Major, who is going to be one of the first shelter dogs in the White House, which is pretty exciting.
A lot of firsts.
Yeah, a lot of firsts indeed.
Yeah.
Thanks, Kaya.